A big trip through the Southwest kicks off in Sin City tonight. We get you set for the Oilers and the Golden Knights right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a lovely evening. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas inside the ESC Global HQ as the Oilers embark on a 4-game road swing. You can join the conversation as always. Text us 780-218-9999. Get it to the nasty chat. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff as we get set for the postseason playoff hockey right around the corner. My goodness, we're into April now, and this is where it gets a lot of fun, maybe more stressful. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. The Oilers 42-26-5. The Golden Knights 45-20-8. Game number 74 on the schedule. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Yes, indeed. It is Vegas tonight. It is San Jose Thursday. It is LA Tuesday afternoon, 2 o'clock start our time. And then they wrap things up in Anaheim next week against the Ducks before returning home. And then a couple of one-game road trips. I suppose you can call them road trips, but quick jaunts, as we like to say, as the Oilers wind down the 24-25 regular season and get set for the playoffs. Teams starting to clinch now. Edmonton getting closer. Another win would certainly help big time in that regard, and we'll see. They'll be in tough tonight against a really strong Golden Knights team. A couple games at home, I should say, to round out the schedule. After that Anaheim game next week, they go St. Louis and San Jose at home next week. Then they get Winnipeg in Winnipeg for one, LA back at home, and then they go to San Jose on the 16th to wrap up the schedule. All right. Latino Heat, you doing okay? You all right over there?
Yeah, we're not getting the audio. The audio's not working, so I'm trying to fix it right now.
Oh, you're trying to fix it? Okay, just keep going, you say. I'll do that. All right. Hernan Salas will be hopping on when he gets everything sorted out. Also, Matt Kassian will join us in a little bit. And Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. This is game number 74, like I mentioned. Just some stats going into this one. This is the fourth and final meeting between these two clubs. They met November 6th at Edmonton, December 3rd at Vegas, December 14th back here in good old our town, and then tonight they wind things down in the season series. Edmonton looking to knot it up. Chris Knobloch, 88, 44, and 10 on the year, or on in his career as head coach of the Oilers. Edmonton, of course, coming off that 3-2 overtime win against Calgary on Saturday. The Golden Knights, meanwhile, 3-1 win at Nashville, also on Saturday night. And for the Knights, it is a 2-game homestand that kicks off today and winds up with Winnipeg in a couple days. The Oilers, by the way, looking to snap Vegas's 6-game winning streak. That'll be a tough one, indeed. I'm getting some text coming in already. Says Petter's Pancakes says it's going to be a tough one. Oilers going to get spanked, says Chris. And then I see some other text coming in with some expletives that I will avoid as well. Hernan, we doing okay?
No, I've tried on both computers to hang on one. I've sent our technical engineers, our bosses, both messages. I just don't know what else to do because it seems like we're live.
We are on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's working just fine.
But I can't get it connected here or in the Hangout studio, which is usually the backup plan. So I'll keep trying here, but I can come on for a bit here if he obviously I don't want you to be doing the show by yourself.
Oh, no, I can do the show by myself.
Troubleshooting here.
Well, I'll get into starting lineups. We'll run casts as well.
Okay.
How about that as you try to figure out the audio stream? We are live on YouTube. It's running along just fine. Let's kick it into high gear here, and we begin with the starting lineups brought to you by South Fort Chev. Buy now and save 0% financing, OAC up to 72 months, or save up to $8,000 on 2025 Silverado 1500s. It's also that time of year for your seasonal tire change service. Mention that ESD sent you, and receive an on-rim tire change for $59.95 plus tax. And then they're also giving a big discount on inspections when you get your tires changed. See the dealer for details, www.southportchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. Truck month ended. That was last month, but we're on to more bigger and better things in April. Also, they mentioned the tariff thing. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll just leave it at that. All right, for the Oilers tonight, here's what we're anticipating. Leon Draisaitl between Vasily Podkolzin and Victor Arvidsson. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins centering Zach Hyman and Kasperi Kapanen. Matthias Janmark between Jeff Skinner and Connor Brown, and then Adam Henrique between Max Jones and Corey Perry. On defense for the Oilers, you'll see Jake Wallman with Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse with Troy Stetcher, Brett Kulak with Ty Emberson, no John Klingberg. He continues to be hampered by something. They wouldn't get into details, but he did play not long ago and didn't go particularly well. As for the Vegas Golden Knights, Jack Eichel centering Ivan Barbashev and Mark Stone, Nicholas Waugh with Brandon Saad and Pavel Dorofeev, William Karlsson between Victor Olofsson and Riley Smith, and then you've got Brett Howden centering Tanner Pearson and Keegan Colasar. On defense for the Golden Knights, Braden McNabb with Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin with Zach Whitecloud, and Nick Hague with Caden Korjak, I should say. On to the goalies we go. You're starting netminders for tonight. 32-year-old Calvin Pickard, 18-8-1 on the season, 271 GAA, 899 save percentage in the 30 games he has played this year. He will face the Vegas Golden Knights for the first time in his career. And at the other end of the rink, it's 28-year-old Aiden Hill getting the nod. 29-11-5 is Hill's record. 246 goals against average, 908 save percentage, 4 shutouts in 45 games this year for Hill. Hill versus the Oil, all-time 3-3-1 record, 277 GAA, 900 save percentage, 1 shutout in 8 games versus the Oil over the course of his career. That brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. The Oilers list remains long, although some good signs today at T-Mobile Arena. Connor McDavid, Trent Frederick, and Evander Kane all taking the morning skate. Here is the list of injuries for the Oil. Matthias Ekholm, day-to-day maintenance. Stuart Skinner, day-to-day upper body. Connor McDavid, day-to-day lower body. John Klingberg, day-to-day undisclosed. Trent Frederick, IR ankle. Alec Regula, IR knee. Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery and knee surgery. Now, the list for the Golden Knights is shorter when it comes to their injuries, but some significant ones and notable ones. We'll start with Alex Pietrangelo, day-to-day, lower body. Very good defenseman still. He's been in the league for a long time, but he's still very effective. Tomas Hertl, day-to-day, shoulder. That's a big one. Ilya Samsonov, day-to-day, upper body. Backup goalie, but plays a good chunk of games. So some significant injuries as well for the Golden Knights. Not as many as the Oilers, but some important ones. Samsonov, 16-9-3 on the year, 278 goals against average, 892 save percentage. And then Pietrangelo, he's having a decent year, 32 points in 67 games. And Hertl, 31 goals already on the season, 28 assists, 59 points through 70 games. So important pieces for the Golden Knights. Now, they are a loaded team. They do have a deep roster, but indeed they are dealing with some injuries of note. Hernan, Salas, are you good? Is everything okay on the audio side or no?
No, still trying to get hold of Maddie, and Dusty's trying to help, but doesn't really know the butt computer too well. So
I have no idea what that means.
So the butt thing we use is to get it to the audio stream. I
know, I'm teasing.
And so right now, just come join us on YouTube for now, at least. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. So no, we move along and
we do what we got to do.
I don't want to touch anything because then it might take us off YouTube. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, good game coming up, Tom. You said the lineups. I think everybody has the same question.
And what would that be?
Why is Kapanen in the top 6? But
that's a great question.
But obviously, there's a coach that likes that. I want to ask you a question, and I want to ask Hernan, and this could be the question of the night.
Okay.
So Gage and I were talking because a lot of people are like, "Wow, if the Oilers beat Vegas tonight, they'll be in their heads, or if they lose to LA will get some hope." Like, Gager, who played pro, said there is something to it, but maybe not to the extent of how we view it, maybe as media and fans. Because I think LA in the back of their heads, Tom, they're thinking, yeah, these guys have beat us three straight times in the playoffs.
Right.
We get them a 4th time, but I don't think they go in there saying, oh, we can't beat these guys. I think they go in there even more motivated. What I'm trying to get at is that I think if the Oilers lose tonight and say they lose Saturday, I don't think it means anything going into it. So I want to ask you, in head-to-head matchups in the regular season, how much stock do you put into that heading into the playoffs? Because there is examples. Vancouver dominated Edmonton last year.
Yes, they did.
Winnipeg got dominated by the Oilers in the All-Canadian division. We all know what happened.
Sweep.
Now, some teams do carry it into it, but a lot of times you see like that, those records in the regular season and the butt kickings that happen don't really matter. Remember when Dallas beat the Oilers last year, like 5-0?
I do. That was April 3rd.
And what happened? So for you, Tom, do you read too much into what happened head-to-head in the regular season, or is it a clean slate for you heading into the playoffs? Sorry, it's a long-winded way to get to it.
No, I like it. I like it. No, I do read into some of it. I think there is some merit or indication of how the teams stack up. But that clean slate starting 0-0 at the beginning of a playoff series can be good for a team. So I think there is something to the season series. However, it doesn't mean everything. And with this Oilers team this year, I kind of have been saying it the last week or two. Like, I understand the frustration. I understand the concern. I understand when people, our listeners and viewers, say, this team's not going anywhere. This team can't even beat, Anaheim. They get their butts whooped here, butts whooped there. No match for LA. I get where that's coming from, but I think that's jumping the gun a little bit. That's how I see it. Like, wait until this team, A, gets healthy, if it does. I think it will. B, gets into the postseason, and you get these guys healthier and cranking it up, dialing it in, because I think they will.
Yeah.
I still think that the Oilers are a contender. I really do. And
I mean, you're getting McDavid, Ekholm. We still don't know Trent Frederick, but
although he looked good today, apparently, at the morning skate.
I think he's going to be an awesome addition. You still might have Evander Kane.
Right.
That means, just think of it this way. That's 3 guys coming out of this lineup for 3 really good players.
Yeah.
The best player in the world, and one of them, and your best defenseman.
Yeah. And those guys become beasts in the playoffs. And they have in recent years. McDavid, Draisaitl, 1-2 in scoring every playoff season the last few years. For them while they're in it, obviously. So yeah, I think come playoffs they're going to be okay. But I think there is some merit to what you're bringing up in regard to like the head-to-head series in the regular season. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, Tom. For me, it's tricky because it goes both ways, right, Tom? Like it's not like I'm sitting here and saying can never happen. Yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of talking.
You're fixing stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little
You're disjointed? No,
I think we figured it out.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, but I apologize, Tommy, to you and to our listeners for kind of being a little distracted. I'm just kind of going back and forth with Dusty, but I think we figured it out.
All right. Nicely done. Good job, boys. Totally saved the day. Maverick, if this makes you feel better, Hernan. Maverick says, Hernan looking sharp.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but then Chief Andy says, Hernan didn't get a haircut. He's just losing it slowly. Oh.
What?
Oh.
No, you're not.
Ooh, that hurts.
Ooh.
I am a little bit, Tom.
What?
losing my hair.
No.
Like I always go with what like my dad has a full head of hair. So I've always been kind of like, I'm good there. But like, no, like you doing these shows on camera, you can notice it a little bit more. So
is it just running back or is it thinning?
It's running back.
Oh,
running away from my forehead.
Oh, you need to go to Turkey.
No, thank you. I would listen, and no issues with what happens to with people that choose to do that. I wouldn't do it. I just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go.
That's beautiful the way you sing. Chris says, Hernan, it's called Just for Men.
Stop it. Stop it. Don't make me start wearing hats.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Let's get to a couple texts here. Zulu says clean slate. Kings are going to be a tough out. Oilers will have to bring it a whole other level to win that series. I don't disagree with that. Zulu makes a good point. Let's see. Maverick also adds, if Pickard plays lights out the rest of the way, do they start him in game one? I don't think so, Maverick. I think they've tried to show everybody that Skinner is the number one, but maybe the leash is shorter. That's my take on it, at least. D-Rock says, remember how the bubble series against Winnipeg went after they swept them in the regular season? LOL. Yeah, not good. And Daniel T says, I watched a video on YouTube with Craig Button saying he'd pick the Kings over the Oilers in the series this year. What a traitor. Daniel, you do know he was the GM of the Calgary Flames at one point, although he is a great man. I love Craig Button. He is excellent. All right. I think Matt Kassian is ready to go. You want to go to that? Let's get into Game Changers. Cass, standing by. Time now for Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian, joining us from his satellite studios in Sherwood Park. Of course, Game Changers brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He is community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city, so check him out. DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, before we dive into number one here, this is a 4-game road trip, and it's going to be a couple of really tough games, and then a couple of games people assume should be easy. How do you think the mindset for the Oilers should be going into this one?
That's where it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Where you're going to have games that you feel naturally they're going to be able to bring the energy and the excitement for, like tonight against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And then you have games like San Jose where you're like, oh, what kind of team are we actually going to see? And a team on the other end that most likely is going to be pretty checked out. And if, their game against LA the other day is an indication they are checked out or pretty close to. So it's going to be interesting to see how Edmonton keeps that emotion and that energy up through it. And some of that driving force could be, hey, we want to finish in front of LA. We want that home ice advantage. LA's been really, really good at home. So we want to get off playoff series to start by being at home and having that, hopefully winning 2 games at home and carrying that momentum into LA, where it's been difficult for teams to win this year. So I'm hoping they're able to pull up some of that motivation and emotion, because it's going to be tough, to be frank, Tom, to play some of those teams and to have the swings in terms of tempo and intensity.
You're right about LA and how good they've been at Crypto.com Arena. Just 4 regulation losses, 4 in OT/shootout. That is pretty damn impressive. Contrast that to 27 victories on home ice. The Golden Knights, no slouches either at T-Mobile Arena, 27-7-3 heading into action tonight. Cass, number 1 for you tonight on Game Changers, rolling 4.
Yeah, not many teams use 4 lines like the Las Vegas Golden Knights use 4 lines. They love to roll and really roll everybody. And it says a lot about your depth when you have a 20-goal scorer in Brett Howden centering your 4th line. Your 4th line. You got a 20-goal scorer in your 4th line, and he's done it in a pretty impressive fashion. Haven't been too many empty net goals in there, but he is Brett Howden, a guy, and Western Canadian guy from Winnipeg or Oak Bank. And the only reason I know the Howdens are from Oak Bank is my old roommate, Drew Bagnall, who is now from Edmonton, grew up in Oak Bank, and his whole goal was to be the first player to play an NHL game to be from Oak Bank. And he was up against, Quentin Howden and Brett Howden in that race. I digress from my tangent. There is a lot of depth to this Las Vegas team, and Edmonton, for all the success that they've had against the Vegas Golden Knights, and sometimes not success against the Golden Knights, Vegas, I think, matches up quite well against Edmonton. They have depth on their defensive group where they can really roll those three pairings. And then the forwards, as already mentioned, they roll through all four as well, which presents a little bit of an issue or a challenge for Edmonton in that their depth players don't score at the same pace. And yes, there's been some better things in the last week or two that have come out of that bottom six. They're still not anywhere near the production level of the bottom six of the Las Vegas Golden Knights, which I think presents a pretty unique challenge heading into this game for the Edmonton Oilers is, with McDavid out of the lineup. And I know there's even a little bit of, there's some injuries and Hurdle not playing for the Vegas Golden Knights, which reduces their depth. But for Edmonton, contending with that, how do you stack up against a group that's going to roll those four when your bottom six hasn't been absolutely stellar and fantastic? Going to create some interesting matchups for sure. And we'll have to see how Knobloch works his lines to either try to get Draisaitl out there frequently or just to try to get something else out of the bottom six.
That line that you mentioned, the fourth line with Howden down the middle between Pearson and Kolasar, 46 goals this season.
Yep.
You want to contrast that with, Edmonton's fourth line tonight. You got Henrique between Jones and Perry. Well, Perry has 16 goals. That's pretty darn good. Henrique has been better of late. He has 10. There's 26. Max Jones has yet to score this season, of course, playing the majority of it in the AHL. But yeah, that is a great point, Cass. Brett Howden at 22 on his own, centering the fourth line. That is pretty damn impressive.
Really impressive. And you could go to that third line as well. And again, Skinner's put some goals in. Yes, he has found ways to produce. Janmark, not really. And Brown, not really either. And if we look, I'd have to look, what are the totals for Olofsson, Karlsson, and Smith here? Let me look over that.
Olofsson, Karlsson, and Smith. Karlsson, 7. Wow, he has fallen, but he's only played 44 games. Olofsson is at 13, so there's 20. And Riley Smith, who just came over from the Rangers, he made his triumphant return. He's got 11 on the season, so not as prominent 11 as they used to be.
No, but still, they still pull up some goals. Still double-digit guys there. So there's just I think it creates a challenge for Edmonton that has at times struggled from a depth standpoint to have those players contribute in a meaningful way. So it's an interesting matchup to me because of that matchup. All right, that was the matchups will be.
Yeah. Point number 1, rolling 4. Sorry, Cass, for cutting you off. My bad. Point number 2, I hope I say this right. Ike Tung.
Ike Tung. It's the combination of Eichel and a German sneeze or a German phrase. So bless you, Ike Tung. But that matchup with Jack Eichel, who's been on an absolute tear here, looking to surpass that 100-point mark this year, most likely will do it. That matchup between Draisaitl and Eichel is going to be a big one. We talk about at times when McDavid's playing that McDavid-Eichel, but tonight it is all about that Draisaitl-Eichel matchup where you have two guys that are playing some of the best hockey of their careers. Now, Draisaitl coming off an injury, 1 game, 2 goals, plays great. Eichel's just been really consistent, and especially recently on the power play has been on an absolute ripper. It's a fun matchup to me. I think one of the guys asked when we were talking earlier in the year about Eichel, does Eichel hit that superstar status? And I think there's a lot of us who are kind of like, well, yeah, he's a star, but is he a superstar? Has he done enough to do that? And I think he's probably moved the needle pretty strongly towards the direction of, this guy's a superstar. Certainly playing like it right now, playing fantastic. And that matchup between him and Draisaitl is going to be a fun one. They're going to play a lot, I would assume, against one another tonight, and got to see who comes out on top.
Speaking of Eichel, he was the first star of the month of March in the National Hockey League, presented by Geico, of course, and he did have 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points in 14 games. John Tavares, Cass, 13 goals, 7 assists for 20 points in 15 games in March, and then Binnington out in St. Louis, 8 wins, 221 GAA, 910 save percentage on this monster surge the Blues are enjoying right now as they push to the postseason. Eichel, 93 points with 10 games. He's played 72. So he missed a game. So there you go. That is Ike Tung, as Cass put it here on Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting. Real estate number 1 was Rolling Forward. 2 was Ike Tung. And number 3 tonight, Cass, Pickard versus Hill.
Yeah, another matchup. This time the goalie matchup. You know, we didn't know exactly, and still don't exactly, when Stuart Skinner's coming back, but a huge opportunity. Calvin Pickard, selected by the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the expansion draft, never ever suited up for them and hasn't ever suited up against them. So an interesting matchup here. Yeah, that is a good one, to have him playing against the Las Vegas Golden Knights for the first time and matching up against Aiden Hill, who has been, Tommy, has been pretty stinking good this year. Now that team around him and that defensive core is incredibly solid and certainly helps, but 29 wins, 11 losses, 5 in OT, 246 on the goals against, and a 908 save percentage. So he has found ways to be pretty consistent here this year. And Calvin Pickard, relied on a little bit more than in years past, and certainly with Stuart Skinner, another opportunity for him. So it's, again, a big matchup. I think one probably for Pickard that he's excited to play a new team, a fresh team. This team hasn't beaten him. He hasn't beaten them before, but never played them. But knowing the history between the two teams and the battles that these teams have gone through in the playoffs, and there's enough players still left and that were around that understand that minor or major rivalry, call it what you will, between the two teams, that I think bring that energy up, and knowing that they're Pacific Division rivals and you're quite possibly going to have to play them in the second round of the playoffs. I think he's chomping at the bit a little bit for this one. So another fun matchup is the Aiden Hill versus the Calvin Pickard. Maybe one of those days, Tom, where we need to see that extra save, that big save, that save me the game save that all the fans in the Nasty Chat love to clamor on about.
I love that you did the deep dive and pulled that stat about Pickard out. He was the first pick in the expansion draft. And he was traded to Toronto for a 6th rounder in 2018 and Tobias Lindbergh. So he never played a game or spent any time of significance with the Vegas Golden Knights. I suppose facing his old team for the first time ever in a roundabout way.
In a roundabout weird kind of way, because it never really was his team, but it was his team. Yeah.
Man, oh man. I love that. Great job, Cass. As always, we will catch up with you on the post-game show.
Sounds good, Tommy. Thanks a bunch.
That was Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Real Estate Damon Bunting, now with The Agency. Good stuff there from Cass. We'll be catching up with him on the post-game show, of course. Hernan, we got a text from Rob from the Grove from T-Mobile Arena, a.k.a. The Fortress.
What?
Yeah, he's there with his wife, Cheryl. Rob from the Grove and Cheryl, they're decked out in their Oilers jerseys in enemy territory. He says, "What's up, Tommy and Hernan?" From inside enemy territory. They have like the golden towels today that they put out there. So we're going to see a lot of golden towels being waved at the game. Kind of neat. Getting that playoff vibe a little bit, right?
I got to get down to a game there, man.
It is awesome. Honestly, I've covered 2 or 3 and it's fantastic. Highly recommend. I know the Nation crew was down there with their Nation vacation. My good buddy Rick and the crew there having fun. Yaremchuk. And it's a really great spot to see a National Hockey League game.
It's a hoot.
That's a great way to describe it. I'm going to get to this text from Sean. DVD is going to be up and on right away here. Sean texting in 780-218-9999 saying, "It's a daunting task for the Oilers against Vegas, but winnable as long as the boys mind their T's and I's and dot and cross their P's and Q's. All will be well." 4-3 Oilers, Sean. Yes, good job with that metaphor, Sean. Really nailed it. I watched that Kevin Pollak scene from Wayne's World 2 where he's got the one blue eye and the one brown eye. and Wayne's like, I guess we're going to cross all the T's and dot all the lowercase J's.
I love those movies.
Just clever little jokes like that. All right. I see he's ready to go. Derek Van Diest from NHL.com is going to give us the scoop on the Vegas Golden Knights and the Oilers Text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Someone said I was getting feisty. I'm not getting feisty.
Yeah,
Come on now.
When were you getting feisty?
I don't know. I don't think I was getting. Maybe when I was doing the Ike tongue.
Oh,
Maybe that. Maybe that. I don't know. What's up, DVD? Let's get him on here. How many previews did you have to write last night?
No, I was preview free last night, so I was with you last night.
I know you were with me last night. We had a good time. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't go out if I have to do my previews. So
I know you've really locked it down. Look at you, big boy now.
It's the job, man.
How do you get stuck with all the previews? So if you don't know, DVD has been with NHL.com for what now? 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
2 years, yeah. And you somehow have become the de facto preview writer for the entire website for all the day's next games. Or do you guys?
No, that's not true. We're on a rotation basis, and to be honest, I do them a lot on the weekends, just because I have the time to do them on the weekends. So yeah, no, it's just a rotation basis and just the way things fall. But yeah, usually Friday or Saturday, I end up doing them, and they're not bad. You just preview whatever days they're ahead. Mm-hmm. Thing is, there's always a huge slate of games on Saturday, Sunday, not so much. But yeah, I don't have a problem doing it. It's just a matter of I can't start them till all the games are done. So
right.
I usually don't start writing until whatever 10:30 at night, 11 at night.
Okay,
so it's a late night.
It is. That's true. All right. I know it's Oilers and Golden Knights. It's a big Pacific Division showdown, the last game of the season series of the regular season for these two teams. But really quickly, Alex Ovechkin has goal 891 here, DVD. This guy is on fire. Like, how soon do you think he breaks Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record here?
Well, what do they got? 8 games left after this one?
Yep.
He'll do it. He'll do it at the end. I think, you know what? This is a record that 2 years ago, I thought, not a chance that he touch it. I know some guys have suggested it. The first guy that I ever heard suggest it was actually David Amber on Hockey Night in Canada. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Like, that's crazy. He'd have to average like 40 goals for the next 5 years, and he was getting up in age. I was like, not a chance to do it. But I think the one thing that's really helped Ovechkin this year, last year they were trying to get him the record. Everything was about him. Everything went through him. Mm-hmm. This year they got a really good team, and it's just like they're winning 7-3. And oh, by the way, Ovechkin scored 1 goal. Like it's not, the onus isn't all on him. And I think that's taken a lot of pressure off him. It's taken a lot of pressure off the race. He broke his leg. His leg. How many games did he miss? 17?
Yep.
Something like that. I can't remember how many games he missed.
Good
so he would have been, he would have had it done by now. So, I think he gets it done this year. I think the Capitals will do whatever they can but they're not playing for Ovechkin. They're playing to win the game. And I think that's the thing that's important. Let's win the game. And then along the way, we'll get Ovechkin a goal here or there. He's got 8 empty net goals, so that helps. Yeah. But that's the way they're approaching the season, and it's worked out well. And we saw Ovechkin when he was here. We talked to him when he was here, and he said, "You know what? Yeah, it's so much more fun that the fact that we're winning and not all the focus is all on me." So I think that's really helped them. And the Capitals, kudos to them. They went out and they loaded up and they got some players and they brought some people in, and suddenly they're one of the best teams in the league, where last year they barely got into the playoffs and were swept out of it before. They're out in 4 or 5 games. I can't remember. They were out quickly last year. So good for them. And it's good for Washington, I think, and good. It's good publicity for the league to see Ovechkin get this chase. And I think everyone wants him to do it at this point now. Even Wayne Gretzky said he wanted him to do it when I talked to him about it almost 2 years ago. Like he was pulling for him. So now that it's getting there, it'll be interesting to see.
Guys, I'll just say this, when he does get there, it better not be an empty netter. I know they all count, guys, but it's got to be past the goaltender, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Gretzky had a problem with his 50th into an empty net in 39 games. No one's ever said, that was into an empty net.
But to break the record, you can't do an empty netter.
They all count. You know what? And it's funny because empty netters, people are like, it's an empty net. But you watch a guy dog a play on an empty net, and how many times it has come back and they end up tying it. True. It happened last week with Tampa almost. Was it Kucherov decided to dog it on an empty net, try to pass the puck, and it almost came back the other way. So they still count, the empty netters. They still count. There you go. Yeah. You don't get half a goal for an empty net goal. So
You should.
I get what you're saying, Hernan. But hey, they all count.
Oh, he's being feisty. Now
That's like saying don't break a record. That's like saying, in soccer, Pele broke that scoring record on a penalty. Does it really count?
That's different, though. You're still shooting. You're still shooting it past a goalie.
Penalties a 90% conversion rate. Like it's practically an empty net.
Not if I'm shooting. It's 50-50.
Via the nasty chat, Word says, I don't think Ovi would end it like that. I don't think so. I think he'll go and get like an important goal. What do the Caps have? I'm on their website right now. I'm just taking a look at their schedule. So they're still playing. The Caps are up 4-3 on Boston right now. Just under 4 minutes left in the third. Washington and its schedule looks like this.
Like they got Chicago, Islanders.
Yeah. Oh, they've got
Blue Jackets twice.
Tomorrow night in Carolina.
A lot of teams that aren't in the playoffs on that.
He might.
There's
have
a lot of non-playoff teams on that schedule.
Yeah.
I think Carolina's the only team the playoff team on the schedule.
I think he has it. Then they have Sunday early game against the Islanders. I think it's either Friday or Sunday where he gets this done.
Yeah. Well, they end on the road, so he'd like to get it at home, I'm assuming. So
that would be Friday.
I'm going to say, what is he, 4 away?
4 away.
4 away. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Friday's a good guess. I'm going to go Sunday, April 13th against the Blue Jackets. That's where he gets.
The 13th, all the way till there?
Yeah. Drama.
I think it's done this weekend.
I heard someone say Columbus, too. Who was it? Was it the great Reed Wilkins?
Well, they go back-to-back home and home against Columbus.
Yeah.
They got home and home against Columbus, so...
Yeah.
So he needs, maybe Chicago. Who knows? Chicago's such a bad team. He might get 5 against Chicago.
Yeah, I know.
Imagine if he broke the record with a 5 spot like Gretzky did.
That'd be amazing.
Break the 39 and 100, yeah.
X-Ray J asking if Washington's clinched. Yes, they have 103 points on the cusp of 105. All right, Oilers and Golden Knights. This is a Golden Knights team DVD that's won 6 straight games. Very strong at home. We talk about the LA Kings and how good they are at Crypto.com Arena. Just 4 regulation losses on 4 OT shootout losses. The Golden Knights, 7 regulation losses at T-Mobile Arena. And then they do have a handful of losses, just 3 at home in the shootout and overtime. So for the Oilers, maybe it seems like a daunting task. That's a term we've seen a little bit via the inbox so far. But how do you look at this matchup against Vegas tonight?
It'll be daunting. It's you're missing your starting goalie, you're missing your best defenseman, you're missing your best player, you're missing, you don't have your heavy hitter that you brought in at the deadline.
Yeah.
So they're missing some key guys. There's some key guys that are missing, and I know they're asking these other guys to step up. And Nugent Hopkins has stepped up, a while, and some other guys have stepped up. But I do think that. Yeah, they gotta get a little better on the bottom 6, and those guys got to provide a lot. I think they're working hard. I think that's a good thing. They're working hard, but whether or not they have enough to beat the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas, I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of Oilers fans there tonight, so it should be a good atmosphere. Vegas is always a good atmosphere. They put on that good show. They got their Vegas showgirls and warm up. There's a lot of good stuff. The Vegas showgirls is my favorite part. And the Elvises, that's the best. Yeah. They line them up. They line them up right behind when the Oilers are warming up, right behind their goal. So the Oilers are looking right at the showgirls and right at the Elvises.
They blow kisses to them.
Oh my God, it's awesome! It is so awesome.
They are very attractive.
Yes, well, they're Vegas showgirls, and the Elvises were good too. I like that they had the Elvises there out there, and then they do a little skit before the game.
Yes,
so that's a lot of fun. And last year they had drummers. I remember coming down off the roofs. Or some of them maybe 2 years ago. It was they do. It's Vegas. They put on a good show.
Yeah,
a good show, and they got a good team. So it's going to be a tough one here for tonight for the Edmonton Oilers.
Hernan.
DVD. How much stock do you put into a head-to-head matchups? Let's say Vegas Oilers, Kings Oilers in the regular season going into the playoffs, because what we're hearing from some fans and just it's a conversation that the Oilers beat Vegas. Now they know they can beat them. But for me, or if they beat LA in LA, now they know they can win in LA. But I think the Oilers know that already. Like, how much stock do you put into a head-to-head matchups in the regular season heading into
not too much? Yeah, not too much, to be honest with you. Unless one team has completely dominated the other team in the regular season, I wouldn't put too much stock into that. Playoffs are a different animal, and the Oilers will have a different team. They'll have 5 different players in the lineup. So that's going to be a little different. I don't put too much stock in it. I think the Oilers do believe they can beat Vegas. They almost did 2 years ago. They should have. I think that game 5 still haunts them.
Yeah,
They're up in that game, and they thought we got them, and then they gave up 2 quick goals, and that was it. So I think they know they can beat them. Maybe, I don't know, you can put something like if one team completely dominated the other team, I think, okay, that the playoffs are in trouble. But these teams are close. Like the teams here in the Pacific, the Vegas, the LAs, and the Oilers, they're tight. And I think little things are going to matter in this series. But, I think, Edmonton's going to go with a different team. Like, this is not the Oilers team that's going to play in the playoffs. And so I think that's something that you have to be leery of. I think what's going to happen tonight is there's 5 guys going to show up back in the lineup. And so the guys on the bubble, they're going to play their butts off tonight. You watch those guys, they're going to have some good games. And the only difference between those guys, like, they play hard, but they just can't score for the life of them, right? They just, Yanmar can't score. Brown's having trouble scoring. Like, those guys like that, they work hard, they play hard, but they're not getting the job done offensively. Defensively, they're playing pretty well. So, and Calvin Pickard's going to have a good game. Like, if Calvin Pickard wants to prove that, yes, he can carry the ball if needed to an extended period in the playoffs, he's going to have a really good game tonight against the Golden Knights and show that, yes, I can do this for an extended period. I'm not just a backup goalie.
Derek Van Diest joining us from NHL.com as we get you set for the Oilers and the Golden Knights down at T-Mobile Arena. Get ready for a lot of 8 o'clock starts. 8:30 on Thursday, by the way. Woof. Yes. All right. Text the 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. DVD, when you look at this Golden Knights team, is there a weakness? Are there elements of this Golden Knights team that you think can be exposed if you're any other team as opposition against Vegas? Or do you just think that they're top to bottom very thorough, and when they're dialed in, they're one of the best in the league? Is it as simple as that? Or how do you see this lineup and go, well, I try to go and attack here, here, and here? How do you see it?
No, they're pretty well-rounded. Like, they got a pretty well-rounded team. You look at that roster, obviously they're led by Jack Eichel. He's having another strong season again this year. Mark Stone is a money player. We saw Mark Stone. I know Mark Stone. Well, I've seen Mark Stone play since he was playing with the Brandon Wheat Kings here when they had that playoff series against the Oil Kings way back when. So we know what he can do. Hurdle's hurt right now, but if he comes back, he's a talented player. You just go down the list of the guys that they have. Noah Hannafin on the blue line, Pietrangelo on the blue line, and it's a really, really good team. Solid, good team. Calvin Kerman did a great job putting that team together, and they've been there but basically since they got into the league, they've been right there.
Yep.
They've had a couple of dips, but yeah, this is a very, very competitive team, and you like to say that maybe last year's loss, maybe last year's exit kind of rejuvenated this team and gave them a chance to step back and then take another run at this. So, that happens sometimes. But yeah, they're very, very loaded, this team. And then in goal, they're really good in goal. So like Kelly McCrimmon went out of his way. Like I said, I know him pretty well. So Kelly McCrimmon pretty well.
Tell the story, because I was going to ask you about that earlier this year.
Were you there?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, we had picked, mock rosters for the Four Nations. So we had gone mock rosters, and I think we initially had Aiden Hill on the roster.
Yes.
But then he struggled at the beginning of the year. He was really struggling. So then we took him off the roster. We had Montembeault on the roster, and I can't remember who else we had on the roster. And then Kelly McCrimmon, like I said, I've known him for a long time. He sees me downstairs outside his locker room, and he goes, "Hey, I want to tell you something." Because Aiden Hill is going to be on that Canada roster. He goes, Aiden Hill is going to be on that Canada roster. And he pointed out that Aiden Hill was going to turn his season around, and he was going to be on that roster. And he was, and he was right. Like, Kelly McCrimmon was right. He had confidence in his goalie. His goalie got off to a bad start, but he knew what he had in Aiden Hill. And he's right. And Aiden Hill playing a lot better now. He's got that save percentage over 9. The goals against average under 3. So he's playing really well right now, and that's what Calvin McCrimmon said to me. Came out, said, Derek, he's gotta make that roster, and he did. So they're pretty solid all around.
I love how he went and found you and told you that. Aiden Hill, 29, 11, and 5.
It's good that he's reading my stuff. I was flattered. Flattered that he was reading my stuff. Like, hey, that's awesome, Kelly.
Yeah.
So, but him and I go back, and he's a great guy. He's a really great guy, and I'm glad for the success he's had because he was in Brandon for a long, long time, a lot of years, and riding those buses and doing those things on. And from Brandon everywhere is a long bus ride, so they have no easy bus rides in Brandon. So good for him. I'm really happy with his success.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Brandon, they're down 2-1 to Lethbridge after 2. Oil Kings in action down at Rogers Place right now, leading PA 2-1 after 1. So there's a bit of a WHL scoreboard update. Go ahead, Hernan.
No.
You don't have anything for DVD?
No, I was just, I'm glad you brought up the Oil Kings. I was just about to do that. I pulled it up on my screen here too, Tommy. Great minds.
And they play tomorrow, right? I was going to hit down there tomorrow. I watched game 4.
Back
so
back.
Yeah, so big game here, big win on the road, big game here. So they'd like to see the Oil Kings get success and, go through that. They've got through that rebuilding phase, and now hopefully they can build. And that's the way it goes in junior hockey, right? You bottom out after you win, and you kind of work your way back to the top again, and that's what they're doing.
DVD, when it comes to this road trip, 4 games, you got 2 teams at the bottom of the table. You got 2 really good teams that you're probably going to have to go through to if you want to make it all the way back to the finals. Would you be, with knowing who's out of the lineup, Ekholm and McDavid, is 2-2 good enough for you coming home? 2-2 record? Or does it depend on who they beat?
No, well, you can't drop points. I'm sorry. You cannot drop points to San Jose and Anaheim. Those have to be guaranteed win nights. If you're going to have any chance and you're trying to get things going for the playoffs, those have to be guaranteed win nights. And that game against LA is going to be a fun game because, you talk about teams that, we can beat this team type thing, Hernan, like you said. Yeah. The Kings are convinced they can beat the Oilers in the playoffs this year. Like in the past 3 years, I wasn't sure they were convinced, but they believe deep in their hearts, if they get home ice advantage, they're going to beat Edmonton in the first round. And I've always contended the whole year, man, it's tough to beat a team 4 years in a row in a playoff series. I don't care what teams they are. I don't care how far ahead you ended up with. It's tough to do anything four times in a row. And to beat a team in a best-of-7 series 4 times in a row in the first round is going to be tough. And I think the Kings are looking at that going, okay, we can take this game. And if the Oilers go into Los Angeles and get pounded, that could be pretty significant when it comes to playoffs time. And then the Kings are playing pretty good hockey right now. They're getting some good goaltending. They're getting some good contributions. They still play that stupid, boring, dump the puck in,
the 1-3-1.
5 guys back. We don't believe in forechecking. Yeah. It's unfortunate because I think they do have more talented players than that, but that's the philosophy they've adopted, and they're still, going with it. You're watching that Leafs game the other night. The Leafs are dumping, and the Oilers have figured out that style. So we'll see what happens when they meet the playoffs. But I think that game in Los Angeles will mean a lot to the Kings.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this: going back 25 years, Edmonton played Dallas in 98, 99, 2000, 2001, and 2003, and didn't win a single one of those. And that's
but what about what about the 97, Todd Marchand, Andy Mould? That team had no business winning that series. Dallas was so much better than Edmonton was.
97,
right?
98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2000. That's 6 series.
Yeah, the Oilers won 1
years, and the Oilers won 1. So I think it can be done.
You know how much better those Dallas teams, even Doug Waite joked about that, like how much better those teams were in Dallas than the Oilers. Like the Oilers had no business being that series. Cujo stole them a bunch of games. He stole them game 7. That was completely just and that's random again. Like it's just, if you think the Oilers are that much better than the Kings, the difference between the Dallas Stars and the Oilers back in the day, it doesn't even compare. Like those 2 teams are here right now. Back then, the Stars were here. the Oilers were here, and somehow they stole that series with Toddy Marchand scoring the overtime winner. So I don't think you can compare. I don't think it's a similar comparison.
Whatever. I still think the Oilers beat the Kings this year.
No, they very well might. But I'm not saying it's hard to do. It's hard to do. It's
Very
hard
true.
to,
Yeah.
right?
All right, DVD. Last one for you. What kind of hockey game do you think we're going to see tonight?
Well, I think the Oilers will be on their heels for most of the night, to be honest. They're going to have to defend well because I think Golden Knights will come at them pretty hard. I think the Oilers will play hard. I think those guys will play hard. But I do think that the Golden Knights will have a lot of the puck. They'll have a lot of possession, and the Oilers will have to defend really well. If they get this one, Pickard's going to have to play well. They're going to need some bottom six guy to score, any bottom six guy to score. Yeah. Defensively, they can't throw the puck away. Like Bouchard's going to have to play a really strong game, can't throw the puck away. And they're going to have to convert on the power play. And then Draisaitl's going to have to be a monster again. Like if Draisaitl has a big game, they have a chance. You have a puncher's chance with a guy like Draisaitl. But yeah, a lot of things have to go right for the Edmonton Oilers to win this game tonight, in my opinion.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's doable, but yeah, they're going to have to dig deep, like you said. Hey, DVD, fantastic as always, my friend. Thanks for hopping on today.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
There's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. Check him out. Great stuff, as always, from our good buddy, Derek Van Diest. So we got a couple minutes left here. I'm seeing some texts. I'm kind of laughing at the nasty chat. Quaddy says, blah, blah, blah. Media keeps banging on about the Kings being better. Believe it when I see it.
We're not. I don't think a lot are saying better, but like you said, like they're due to win a series here. They are. It's not, and like you said, it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like the Oilers could win 4 straight.
Yes,
of course they can. But let's look at the Oilers season, Tom. It's been a roller coaster.
Oh, it has been. Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a lot of questions about their injured guys. Will they be ready? How many games will they get in before the playoffs? Like goaltending, man. Like my buddy Joaquin's like, I think Pickard's making a case to maybe push to be the starter for game 83. And I don't think he's wrong. Skinner has not been good enough.
Skinner has not had a good season.
No, so
it's been rough.
It's it's going to be interesting, man. It's and you know what's crazy, Tom, is that we got 2 weeks still left, and we know it's going to be Oilers Kings unless something a miracle happens,
right,
with the Flames. And I'll tell you, those Flames are feisty, as you know.
They're done. They're done after that loss to Edmonton. That's it.
They won yesterday.
They're done.
They're down 1-0 right now to Utah after 20 minutes, and Winnipeg. I think a lot of Oiler fans are going to be cheering on the Winnipeg Jets as they take on the LA Kings. Tommy, what kind of game are you expecting?
A tough one. It's always a battle in Vegas. Probably low scoring. I'm looking at the last few games at Vegas. 1-0. Vegas beat Edmonton earlier this year. 3-1 on February 6, 2024. Edmonton beat Vegas 7-4. Prior to that, Edmonton 4-3, Edmonton 3-2, Edmonton 5-3. That's going back the last 6 visits to Vegas for the Oilers. They're 4-2 in that stretch. They've lost the last 2 visits, 6-6 overall. I think it's going to be a tight game. It usually is at T-Mobile Arena between the Oilers and the Golden Knights.
And I agree with you. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be 2-1. I just don't know for who yet, Tom. I truly don't.
Ooh. Well, your goaltending matchup, Pickard versus Hill. The lines for the Oilers tonight, one more time. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Nugent-Hopkins with Kapanen and Hyman. Janmark between Skinner and Brown. Henrique centering Jones and Perry on defense. Wallman with Bouchard. Nurse with Stetcher. Kulak with Emerson. As for the Golden Knights, Eichel between Barbashev and Stone. Waugh between Saad and Dorofeev. Carlson with Olofsson and Smith. Howden between Pearson and Kolasar. You heard Cass talk about that fourth line. Has 46 goals so far this year. Very impressive. On defense for Vegas, Braden McNabb with Shea Theodore. Noah Hannafin with Zach Whitecloud. And Nicholas Hague with Caden Korczak. That is your starting lineups for the Oilers and the Golden Knights. Nancito, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, let's go. It's going to be a fun one. The season's winding down. The Oilers got to find their game, Tom, and I know there's been some good in a lot of the games they've played lately, but they're still struggling defensively. They're still struggling off the rush. Stay out of the box tonight because this Vegas power play is unreal right now. Mm-hmm. Clicking at over 30% And the guy, Ken Bulkey, that we had on EST afternoon, he goes, this is new to them because they've always struggled on the power play, Dom. Like,
yeah,
this is like 9% better than their highest total ever. So stay out of the box for the Oilers, and we'll see you all later. Way later.
Yes.
On the post-game show.
Hey, take advantage of Vegas's PK. Not very good this year. All right, that's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Huge thank you to Derek Van Diest from NHL.com for giving us the scoop on this matchup. For Matt Kassian and Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers and the Golden Knights as they wrap up the season series. Maybe they meet in the playoffs. Who knows? We'll break down tonight's game on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Join us, won't you? It's going to be a late one. We'll have fun together. Ciao for now.